The film begins with a young man named Shawn selling books on the side of the road. Every day, he looked simple and innocent, so a bully named Harvey told his gang to mess with Shawn and steal his money. As Shawn was about to sell a book to a beautiful woman, Harvey's men suddenly showed up to cause trouble. But surprisingly, Shawn was a martial arts expert and easily beat up the gang. However, one of Harvey's men, Z, managed to run away with Shawn's money. The next day, Shawn tried selling again, but this time he switched to selling umbrellas, hoping for better luck. That evening, after a day of trying to sell, Shawn bumped into Harvey and Z. Seeing them reminded Shawn about the money they took, so he went up to them to ask for it back. Surprisingly, Harvey, who now knew that Shawn could fight, made an unexpected offer. He offered Shawn a job that involved fighting in a match. If Shawn won, he would get $5,000. For Shawn, who had no home and really needed money, this seemed like a big chance. After thinking about his tough situation, Shawn decided to accept the offer. It wasn't just about the money anymore, but a chance to change his life. The next day, Shawn got a text from Harvey asking him to meet in about an hour. Even though he was a bit surprised, Shawn was curious and decided to go. When he got there, Harvey introduced him to a man named Jack. Jack was known for organizing illegal fights in secret places around New York City, where rich people would bet on fighters. At first, Jack didn't think Shawn could be a good fighter. Shawn looked too simple and didn't seem like someone who could handle dangerous underground fights. But Harvey believed in Shawn's skills and convinced Jack to give him a chance. Jack finally agreed and wanted to see if Shawn really had what it takes to survive in such a tough world. That night, Shawn got his first fight at a popular inn in the area. The place was filled with excitement as people gathered to watch Shawn in action. Since he was new, everyone was eager to see how he would do. When the match started, Shawn felt a bit nervous and unsure of himself. His opponent was more experienced and attacked him right away. At first, Shawn seemed overwhelmed, struggling to block the punches and kicks coming at him. But after a while, he started to figure out how to fight back. Using the special moves he had trained for a long time, Shawn quickly countered his opponent's attacks. Suddenly, the fight turned in his favor, and Shawn began to take control. With one powerful move, he knocked his opponent out and won the fight. This victory not only showed his skills, but also marked the start of his journey in the tough world of fighting. The crowd cheered, impressed by how Shawn turned things around. After the fight, Harvey invited Shawn to celebrate. Harvey thought this one was a big deal and a great chance to make more connections and find new fight opportunities. At that time, they decided to head to a popular bar in New York where fighters and promoters often hang out. The bar was known as a place to get information and look for new chances in the underground fighting scene. When they got there, the bar was busy with people chatting and loud music playing. In the middle of the crowd, they met Martinez, a well-known fighter in their circle. Martinez was also there to look for new opportunities and check out potential opponents. Since Harvey knew Martinez for a long time, he introduced Shawn to him. Shortly after, they talked for a while, sharing tips and experiences about the fighting world. Soon, they started talking about the next match. Shawn and Harvey were hoping for another fight, but Martinez seemed unsure. Even though Martinez admired Shawn's determination, he wasn't fully convinced of Shawn's abilities yet. He thought Shawn still had more to prove. This conversation made Shawn realize that if he wanted to be truly respected in the fighting world, he would have to keep working hard and proving himself. In the middle of the busy bar, full of people talking and having fun, Shawn noticed a woman who looked very familiar. Even with all the noise and excitement, Shawn quickly recognized her as Zuli, the woman who once wanted to buy his book. At that moment, he felt a strong interest in Zuli, and everything about her, from the way she talked to the look in her eyes, seemed to capture his attention. However, even though Shawn was drawn to her, Zuli acted differently. She was calm and kept her distance, not showing much emotion towards Shawn. After a quick introduction and short conversation with Zuli, Shawn went back to the group of women he was sitting with, enjoying the friendly atmosphere. The room was filled with happy conversations and laughter, and Shawn seemed to be having a good time. But then, while talking to the group, Shawn's eyes suddenly met someone familiar. It was his old friend, Evan. Shawn wasn't happy to see him because Evan brought up Shawn's father, which made him uncomfortable. Not wanting to cause a scene, Shawn decided to leave the bar. Outside, Shawn waited for Zuli to come out, hoping to talk to her again. But when she did, she still acted cold toward him and walked away. Despite this, Shawn wasn't ready to give up. The next day, Harvey found Shawn sleeping on a park bench. This is when Harvey realized that Shawn was homeless. Feeling sorry for him, Harvey invited Shawn to come live with him at his house. As night fell, Shawn's second match was about to start. This time, his opponent was much bigger, which made Shawn a bit scared. The fight began in front of a big crowd. Seeing Shawn struggling, one of Harvey's friends stepped in and kicked Shawn's opponent, causing chaos. Everything became a mess, and they quickly grabbed Shawn and ran away. The match was canceled, and there was no winner. The next morning, Shawn, still determined to win Zuli's heart, went to her workplace to wait for her. Soon, Zuli arrived with an older woman and a young girl. Shawn invited Zuli to a quick coffee date at a nearby cafe, telling her it wouldn't take more than 20 minutes. When they got to the cafe, they talked, and Shawn found out that the young girl was Zuli's daughter, and that Zuli was a widow. After learning that Zuli was a widow, Shawn saw a street vendor selling rabbit dolls. He immediately bought one and gave it as a gift to Zuli's daughter. This gesture made Zuli soften up towards Shawn, and she started to be kinder to him. After spending time with Zuli, Shawn returned to Harvey's house. They had an argument, but soon made up. Later that evening, Shawn prepared for his third match. This time, he had to fight in front of important bosses, and his opponent was an Asian fighter from Martinez's team. Then, the fight began. At first, Shawn was having a hard time keeping up with his opponent. But as the match went on, he got used to it and started fighting back. In the end, Shawn won and earned $100,000 as a prize. At that time, he wanted to celebrate at his favorite bar. However, by accident, he ran into Evan again, and they almost got into a fight. Luckily, Zuli was there and managed to stop them. Seeing the situation wasn't good, Zuli invited Shawn to her house. At her house, they started talking about their lives. As they chatted, the mood became warmer and more relaxed. Shawn found himself wanting to get closer to Zuli, and she invited him to a room near the stairs. Just as things were about to get more serious, Zuli's grandmother suddenly appeared, making the situation awkward. After Shawn left, Zuli began searching for information about him. She found out that Shawn was once a martial artist, but had disappeared for a long time after a fight with his father. Meanwhile, Harvey went to meet Jack, but to his surprise, Martinez was there too. They discussed the next fight, where Shawn would face Evan. The three of them decided to bet $500 on Evan winning. Later, Harvey went home to see Shawn and told him about the plan. There, Harvey asked Shawn to lose the match against Evan on purpose. Of course, Shawn refused and walked away from Harvey. Feeling upset, Shawn went to Zuli's house to calm down. It happened that Zuli had just finished showering, and since no one else was around and she felt lonely, they ended up getting close. After getting close, they decided to go on with their day. But just as they reached the elevator in Zuli's apartment, they unexpectedly ran into Harvey. This made Shawn jealous and suspicious. Even though they explained that Zuli only worked for Harvey as a person who delivered betting money, Shawn, filled with jealousy, didn't believe them and stormed off angrily. He was upset the whole night. The next day, Zuli came to Shawn and had a serious talk, explaining everything until Shawn finally understood. Shawn then went to see Harvey, and they made up. Surprisingly, Shawn agreed to the match against Evan and said he was willing to lose. But he had a condition that he wanted half of the money that Harvey would make. After they reached an agreement, Harvey collected the betting money from his friends and Martinez to send to Jack. There, Martinez warned Harvey that if Shawn won and Martinez lost his bet, someone would be sent to hurt Harvey. Zuli helped deliver the money safely to Jack. Meanwhile, Shawn was preparing for the fight with some light training. When the night of the match arrived, they went to a fancy building in New York City filled with rich people. Once everything was set, the intense match between Shawn and Evan began on the rooftop. The fight was so wild that part of the building's wall broke. At one point, Evan trapped Shawn in a neck lock, and it seemed like the perfect moment for Shawn to give up. But filled with anger towards Evan, Shawn lost control and attacked Evan with all his strength, causing Evan to lose. However, things didn't go as everyone thought. Shawn and Zuli had secretly changed the original plan. They tricked everyone into thinking Shawn would lose, but in the end, Shawn won the fight. Instead of facing danger, they won a lot of money and decided to leave all the chaos behind. Then, they chose to go on vacation together, bringing an unexpected end to the whole series of events. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is if you're ever in a fight, make sure to bring your crush and maybe a bunny doll because love, money, and surprise attacks always win.